morning, friends, and welcome to Franchise India. I'm Gaurav, Marya, Chairman of Franchise India Group. So, friends, this is a very special Sunday morning webinar where we're going to talk about how you can start your own business and make it a successful one. This webinar series we started, this is the 20th edition of this series. But I started this series because we used to get a lot of people like you, all of you have joined in because Franchise India have been doing these webinars for the last 2 years, and we've got over 1 million people who joined our webinars. And I found a lot of people were not able to take a right decision in terms of what business they should start, which means that they were not able to make that very important decision in terms of is this business going to work for me? Is this too much of risk? Is this right for me? A lot of these uncertainties really made them not to take right decision. So we thought that we should start a series where we talk about how you should really go about if you want to really choose a business, and how can Franchise India help you doing that. So what is the flow of the webinar? We're going to talk about a little bit on Franchise India. So I'll give you some background, what we do, what kind of company it is. We've been there for the last 24 years, but what is our mission? And then I'll get into a little bit about how to start a business, because that's very important, because a lot of people aspire to be a successful entrepreneurs, but very few are able to do that. And especially in a country like India, where you put in a lot of your hard work, your own money, your own strengths into the business, and if for reasons business didn't do well for you, it impacts a lot of other areas in your life. It impacts your not just a financial part of it, but it also impacts your personal life. And I've seen people, when they have a failed business with them, it disturbs everything around them. So it's very important that you take that decision very carefully. Rather, we have over the time worked with thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs in terms of realizing their business. And we realize that especially when people come with no background on business, it becomes even more difficult for them to take a right decision. So let's get started. A little bit introduction on Franchise India and myself. I started my career way back in 95, started with the telecom. The initial few years was a telecom. Very successful stint, because the telecom was on a start. I mean, GSM technology was just launched. And I realized one of the early days that why my business was so successful, it's not because I brought in an exceptional skill, but I was at the right time with the right business. And that's also one of the important aspects which I always give advice to any entrepreneur who comes across. It's all about timing. If you are able to locate a right opportunity at the right time and you put all your resources in it, most likely you will be successful. That's very important. You need to really see what is the timing of business. And I've been very fortunate that some of my businesses which were successful had actually absolute right timing. I started in 95 telecom, when telecom was just about to happen. Rather, a lot of people didn't have phones at that time. I mean, very few people started to get their GSM phones. And because of early stage, the industry was on a huge growth, and anybody who joined at that time in the industry would find a way or its own share in the business. So that's what my start happened. And then because I was a small business owner, got excited to many other businesses, and many businesses I chose didn't do well for me. And I'll be honest about it. A lot of businesses I decided just because I felt they were great, which means that in Franchise India, we say this, that there are only 3 ways people look at the business, and we were the 4th alternative. The first 3 were family. So you have somebody successful in your family, you just want to follow that, or you follow your friends. And third is schools, because sometimes you look at business from outside, it's very attractive to you, but you don't know the business well. And that's why you get into business which is not for you, and you feel that it's your passion or something you want to always do that, but you don't understand how to do it. For example, a lot of people come to us for starting an F&B business, a food and beverage. You want to start a cafe or a restaurant or a club or a microbrewery, and I can tell you that the maximum number of failures in franchise and businesses like that because it's very complex. It needs a lot of attention, it needs a lot of scaling, it needs a lot of time, and just because you are passionate about it doesn't mean that you will be a successful business. I don't say that that's not a good category to invest in, but it takes a lot to really make sure that what business is right for you and what kind of resources you need. So I was not so successful in many businesses. I started investing, and then it started coming to me and saying, there are many people like me who are very looking to start a business, and they just go out and invest, and sometimes business doesn't do well and they fail. And how can we correct this whole thing? And how can we put some kind of a very scientific way of going around, like in any other asset class? If I want to buy a property, there are a million property brokers who can take me around, show me different properties, and then I can choose what is right for me. Similarly, if I want to make a financial investment, I can go through a different financial consultants who can take me through different products. It can be some passive products, some investment products, some saving products, and it can be from equity or mutual fund or any other thing. And then I can make a decision what is a investment decision I want to take. But when I want to buy a business, nobody is there to help me. Nobody is there to help me in terms of what business I should start. And that's where Franchise India was born. Franchise India is India's first start your own business platform. We were very clear that the only problem solving we want to do is to help entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs who can come to our platform, see a lot of opportunities, interact with these opportunities, meet the people, brand owners and opportunity owners, and then make a right decision to start a business. So way back in 99, we started a digital platform called franchiseindia.com. If you've not gone through franchiseindia.com, I will encourage you. It's the world's #1 franchise site. A lot of opportunities are available there. You can explore different opportunities. And then we started exhibitions, magazine. We run today the biggest magazine in the world, which is called Entrepreneur. And we run for Asia, franchising world, retailer. And we also have now operations in 94 cities in India, where we actively advise entrepreneurs, people who are doing business. They can talk to our consultants, spend hours and hours with them in helping them do their business. And especially in 2007, we started a broking company where we used to advise investors and brand owners to come together, and we used to help them do the transaction. And over the last 14, 15 years, we have helped over 1 lakh investors who have taken decision of starting a business through franchise, which means that we have actually been advising investors in making the first vertical. Now, this service we started because we felt that a lot of people came with a very little understanding of what business is. And I think sometimes when they approach just one single brand and they are being given very glorified image on that brand and they've been sent some financial projections, they fall into that financial projection, which means just because you don't know the business, you don't know your own capability, and somebody tells you that, look, if you invest, you're going to make so much of money, it looks very attractive. And a lot of investors go out and invest into the business. And I can tell you, over my journey, I've realized that if you take 100 failures, 100 out of 100 failures, it is about almost 75% would lack on 2 areas, which are very, very critical. One, they chose the right or wrong opportunity, which means that they were not able to take the right opportunity. And second, they were undercapitalized. They didn't know what money it is required to run that business. Out of 75% of all failures which are happening because of these 2 reasons. One, they don't know what opportunity to take. They fall into some opportunity, felt that is right for them. And second, they were undercapitalized. And one of the reasons I started this Successpreneur web series, because I wanted to address these 2 issues. They are very, very serious issues. One, how do you really choose the right opportunity? And second, how do you plan yourself that you are absolutely right on resource planning when you are running a business? So what are the steps if you want to really get into business ownership or you want to start your business? I mean, you have 2 choices. One, you can start your own business or you can buy a friend. But any opportunity which you want to really explore and get into, you need to follow 2 steps. The first step, which is very important, is setting your mindset. Mindset is very important because business is all dependent on how prepared you are. And if your mindset is not prepared for taking the time you're getting into the business or committing your few years of your life into a business, it will never work. I know a lot of people who get into businesses without doing a very good job. They just explore and get into something and they are not very prepared. So how do you prepare your mindset? First and foremost, very important thing is when you want to really start it, what is the timeline you give yourself and how you prepare yourself? I call that date, D-A-T-E. Date is very important. If you want to start your entrepreneurial journey, first you need to set your date. And I can tell you a lot of people who join me, if I go and ask them, I have done this in many webinars of mine, and say, give me a date when you want to start the business, or maybe let's do this as a question to all of you. You can use the Q&A box. There is a Q&A box down there, and give me a date. how many of you are looking to start a business in next 60 to 90 days or 120 days or 180 days, or you have a firm date in your mind? Some people, would like to start in maybe next 30 days. So give me in the Q&A box, how many of you want to start a business in next 60 to 90 days or any other date which comes to your mind? Even if it comes to your mind that you want to start 1 year, just write on that. And so I would like to see how many of you are firm. You're attending this webinar, you're spending your time, you have interest to start a business. So the first person who's responded, I should congratulate Mr. Krishna. He's 3 months. He's given himself 3 months. And then there's Veena Goyal. Welcome, Veena ji. And 4 months, again, very firm. So I congratulate both of them. They came with some date. And I can tell you a lot of people on this webinar, there were 100 odd people in the webinar, would not have even the date in mind. So which means that you're getting into something very clearly, starting a business, and you don't have even a date in mind. So how would you prepare yourself? Sunil says after 2 days. This is something I've heard first time. It's too much of rush. I would not suggest Sunil to take decisions unless you've really gone through and you are just on the verge of signing yourself, and it's just happened that you joined this webinar. So I congratulate if you have that stake. But if you're just pushing into it, never rush. Pawan wants to start in December. So all of you are great because you have some date in mind. And I further define date. D stands for discipline. You need to put some kind of discipline towards your entrepreneurship. A stands for accountability. Accountability is very important. You need to be accountable to yourself. Why are you getting it? We'll talk about that in more. And third is T stands for training yourself. The unfortunate part of the Indian education system of learning is that we are not trained to be. We are trained to do work for somebody. So which means that we are trained to be a person to take a job and work. We are not trained to be. So how do you do that? Because if you are changing the journey and you want to now be an entrepreneur, then you need to train yourself. And that's very, very important. And that's why I insist when you buy a franchise, the first thing you should really ask any franchisor and say, what is the training plan? I want to train myself before I want to really commit myself to this system. That's very, very important. And the E stands for encouragement. Nobody outside would come and encourage you. If you start your entrepreneur journey, it's going to be tough. A lot of issues can happen. Every day almost would start with some kind of a troubleshooting. I call the entrepreneurs have 3 things in mind. One is ideation. You think ideas, and especially when you're starting new, you have a lot of ideas. You're full of ideas. Then you get into execution load. You're almost executing, you're getting the business. And then you get into the different part, which is troubleshooting. So you are actually out of your idea. You are between the execution and troubleshooting all the time. And if you're not trained yourself, you will not be able to step back and start thinking why you started the business at the first place. What was the larger picture you want to really do that? So this is one of the very important. So unless and until you do and set your date, put yourself in discipline, A for accountability, 3 for training, and E for regular encouragement to yourself that you're going to make it on your business path. So what is a mindset? So mindset is also stepping back and saying, what is my life goals? Because if you're building a business, you're building the business for something larger you have in life, which means that you have some purpose for your family, what you want to really do, how you really want to build your career. A lot of things are attached to your business. And unless and until you define your life goals, you can never get into understanding what business is like. Because if the business doesn't fit with your life goals, it will be very short term, not really service the larger objective you want. Second thing you need to ask yourself is, what is your risk appetite? Not everybody gets at the same time. We get investors who come to us with very, very low risk. So they don't want to risk it, they're professionals, don't need to service. Now I don't want to start something where I use my savings of 20. I have a responsibility, the kids have grown up, they want to go to education, marriages are coming, a lot of things are there which are telling you, I cannot take risk. But you still want to take the money, you still want to do it. Then we have a big risk. They come in with some kind of, and then we have high risk also, which come in, especially younger people or people who come with us from the experience. Means that I come from this industry, I know I can make it, I have relationships, I can go and make that investment, build the work on a high risk. So understand what is your risk, then also understand your resources, and be very honest about your resources. It's just not capital. Another thing which is very important is that, and this I give an example to everybody and say, if 100 people start the same brand from a same franchise, they all 100 would have different results. So which means that if you're just choosing a particular brand cannot ensure the same results that you expect. All 100 would have different results. Some would be very, very high performing and some would not perform. Now, reason for this change is that there was something else outside the money which you invested, which was more critical, which means that you bring in commitment, your own time, your own resources, your experience, your family members, your strategic location. It can be many, many other things which has made more dominance to your business than I think. I have also invested into many franchise brands. And when I see the performance of these brands and I look at some very successful people in the same brand and some very, very not so successful people. Large part of that is very clearly that the people who are very successful, they have one thing in common, that they know what they want to do with their brand. And people who are not so successful are people who come and say what the brand can do for me. They just need the capital and say, because I'm putting a capital, I think that my business will take off and I can take off. So very clearly understand your resources, and resources are very important, and experience is very critical. Rather, I define the ROI, which is the most used word in the time to be buying a business or starting a business. And a lot of people talk about ROI, and I've realized that people don't understand what the meaning of return on investment is. So there are two types of businesses. One businesses are pure capital. So put your capital, spread out the capital, and it creates results, which means the return on investment. And then we have another type of ROI. There are two other types which are very important. One is return on intelligence. What do you bring in? Maybe your experience. There are some businesses like coaching, business coaching. That doesn't require too much investment. It requires your experience. If you are 20 years of domain experience in a corporate life and you now want to help other entrepreneurs, business owners, then this business will be very different. So it's a return on intelligence business. And then you have return on involvement. How much involved you are in your business, how much time you commit to your business. So this is very important to really define what is your resources, what are you doing. And also the larger passion and purpose, that's also very important. So unless and until you have all these aspects being combined together, your life goals, your resource planning, your risk appetite, and also the larger purpose and passion which you're trying to do that. And if you connect these four blocks and really put some kind of, I think that would set your mindset. It'll give you that confidence that you can go out and take that decision. Now it comes down to a very important aspect, which is second aspect, is how to choose the right opportunity. What is there? Is there an answer, or there is a formula which works for you? Over the years, I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs in taking that decision. I always make these 4 dots, and if you combine these 4 dots, you would be likely closer to taking that decision. The first dot is the industry you want to really choose. That's extremely, extremely important. Why you are choosing that industry over a lot of other industries available in the market. And it should not be just driven by your passion, because that's not going to work. And if your life goals or your business goals along with your passion fit in same industry, that's great. But most of the time I've realized it should be driven on some kind of a forecast which you need to really see your industry and say, what is the industry which is going to be next 5 years? Like in the morning, I had a call with somebody in the US, and they are putting up a biggest platform for Web 3.0. Now Web 3.0, everybody knows that it's going to be the future of technology and the metaverse and NFTs and likes of that. But I also know any investment you will put into the space will ask for a 3, 4, 5 year gestation before it can become meaningful. So a lot of times the industry is very future looking, but cannot give you returns on an annual basis. So if you have requirement of ongoing business income, then maybe this is not good. While we all know there is great opportunity in this industry, but not for you because you want to pay your EMIs, you want to run something right now. So one has to be very carefully understanding where you are and how much balance you want to do, what I call income generation and value creation. Very clearly understand there are some businesses which are long-term value creation, like the startup these days. They continue to burn, they continue to raise, but they're building value. They're building bigger value. And eventually there will be shareholder value, which everybody will make out. And then there are income-based businesses which give you cash flows. which you can feed your life. And sometimes you need to do balance between these two, because if you're just building value, how do you run your and sustain yourself? And if you're just running income business, what is a long-term cash out for you, or you are able to put some kind of a financial freedom for you at a certain level. Businesses I particularly like are giving you both some kind of income generation, it gives you income, and also long-term value where you can cash out or exit from the business. So very clearly, you need to understand what industry you want to invest, and always choose 3 or 4, 5 industries and explore the potential of those industries over the next few years. And more importantly, what you bring in special to that industry, that your contribution can help that industry or you to perform better in industry. That's very important. And this is one of the areas which Franchise India works very closely with our investors in terms of helping them choose the right industry. Today we represent over 200 different industries, sub-industries, and every industry we have very, very detailed analysis on that. We have a lot of white papers, a lot of reports, a lot of data which can support why you want to really take it. Then once you have shortlisted the industry, you go to the next stage, which is step 2, is really choosing the right brand in that industry. Now there are many brands from the same industry. Say for example, you chose fitness and you want to really start something in fitness, so you felt that that's the industry you want to really focus. Then there are a lot of brands that can be bigger gyms, smaller places, and many other opportunities available. Like multinational brands, then you can be homegrown focus brand. Why you want to choose a particular brand? What is the valuation that brand is giving? What kind of sport you can expect? What is the experience of that brand in your own market? All of these questions are very, very good. Now that we have a 25-point checklist which we run through in terms of why we want to choose a brand over another brand. So we do a lot of comparatives between year-to-year, one brand to another brand, and then do the right decision. So what have we done? We've chosen, say, maybe 4 industries. Then we've chosen maybe the brands under that, maybe 10 brands have come in. Then the step 3rd comes in understanding the financial performance and micro analysis of that business model. That's very, very critical, because a lot of permutations really work on the business. In terms of the location, the timing of the year which you're starting the business. So all that would give you what I call a detailed financial and a business plan. And that's something which has to be drawn, because at the end of the day, every business is unique, every entrepreneur is unique, every opportunity is unique. So unless and until you really draw a detailed financial and a business plan, you will never be able to understand what is the right industry. That's a 3rd dot. And the 4th dot is also equally important, the micro market which you want to start a business. You need to do analytics on that. What kind of demand is there? Who's your micro competition? Why would you be able to shift the customer? I always say, like for example, you start a salon and you take a salon to a particular market. You have to tell yourself that nobody is really waiting for you to open up. Somebody is getting the haircut done somewhere, which means that market has already been addressed. When you open up there, what is the compelling reason why people would shift to you? So these are very important aspects, because it's not that people are waiting for it. You need to really see what is the compelling reason why, and you have to learn from these large companies. Look at Honda. Honda's cars were the top market share in India. It dropped from less than 3% market share in India. There was a news that Honda might exit India because they're not doing well, while they're long-term invested in India. But why? Because they were not able to predict what product people are needing. They were not able to. They continue to lose their market share to a lot of new companies which are not the best for the organizations as compared to Honda, but their products were so compelling for markets like India. They shifted the market to them. So today, companies like Kia Motors, which is much smaller company from a size and structure viewpoint, they have shifted a lot of ways to them because they've got their products more sense to the customer and so on. So one has to really understand what is the compelling reason why people would shift to you versus any other option. So let's summarize what we thought. How do you connect 4 dots? The first dot is choose the right industry. Second dot is choose the right brand. Understand the financial and business plan, and finally do your understanding of your micro market. What is the compelling USP which you would bring in? Once you have done that, then also it's not over, because you need to really still go out to choose. When you're choosing the opportunity, you need to do a lot of good negotiation. because it can be very complex. Because when you're getting into any kind of commercial or a legal contract, you need a specialist to help you out. And that's where also Franchise India really participates. We have a full legal team which works with you to really define what kind of contract you need to do, what is the term of the contract, how you would run renewals, is there a non-compete available, which means that it restricts you to do something in the same space going forward, what is the protection of territory you have, is not going to be the risk that you open up here and the next door you find another franchise coming in which is eating into your market share, what kind of training, support, and all that has to be defined. And even if sometimes very loosely written training, you don't know who's going to take the cost of the training. So a lot of financial implementations can come in. Supply chain margin, what is the margin you have, what kind of margin the franchisor is keeping, all that points are very important. Again, we have about 30-point legal checklist where we go out and take every single part and negotiate hard for you that you are able to get the right kind of contract. And then you have many options of franchise, which means that you can take a unit franchise, just a unit. You can go into multi-unit franchise, which can be more popular. You can also take an area franchise or a master franchise or a in-area franchise or area developer or area franchise where you take a and there is a different mindset of running a unit franchise and running an area franchise. Area franchise is much more long-term. You need to develop your region. You need to scope for the franchise and henceforth. But when you're running a unit, you always have to focus on the long-term. Another thing, which is probably my last part of this today's discussion, because we're coming down to about 30 minutes of webinar. And friends, if you have any questions on business model, ROI, how to select a business, or any business which you are looking to select, you want my viewpoint on that, how's the industry, what is the performance, which brand which you have, which you are considering, you need my viewpoint on that. Just use the Q&A box and quickly ask any questions. I will be able to take maybe 1 or 2 or 3 questions which are coming in. So let's talk about the journey when you have selected the opportunity, contract, contract. What is the life structure of life, cycle of that business? First is what I call the foundation cycle. The foundation is where you're incubating your business, you're setting the foundation right. And this is where the biggest mistakes happen. I have seen that most of the businesses which close or would close have been actually not handled very well in the first or 2 quarters of their business startup. The first 2 quarters have actually set the wrong foundation, and the business sooner or later would have to be closed. Why? What happens? The founder is not trained on running that business. He doesn't know what to really do, he doesn't know what kind of resources would be required, including your team need to hire or the kind of resource planning. Also overindulges. The first 3 months they go out and put all the money in marketing without even understanding business. They overindulge. So all the mistakes which you do in the first quarter of your what I call the foundation and incubation cycle really cost the business very, very heavy, and you're not able to sustain further. So you have to be very, very particular that the first 3-4 months you're not doing it. Even you don't want to do a grand launch. You don't have to, because business is not in your control. You're just learning as it goes along. So rather you have to work on every single process, every single structure, so make sure that the business comes in your control. That's part number 1. The part number 2 is where your business now has to find stability. Stability means your team is stable, the cash flows are stable, no more burn in the business, your vendors, suppliers, everything is stable. And that's something which is a stage which tells you now that you're ready for the 3rd stage, which is a growth stage. You want to grow the business. And that's why you want the business, because you want to really take it. And the 4th stage is sustainability. Now that stage is the greatest where you will be. Now what I call sustainability means the business can now run without, which means that now you set processes, you know what to ask, and systems are very, very clear, and now the business will run by itself. If you do this life journey, you come down to sustainability, which means that you can exit the business or sell the business for profit to somebody else and find your financial. So this is a very important cycle. So friends, what I want to really summarize in today's discussion was, first it all starts with mindset. Second part is to really put some kind of a structure to choose the right opportunity, then to understand which brand you want to choose, what model you want to do, unit or area franchise, and then we need to also put yourself into the cycle, what I call running your business model. Sunil has a question. What is a typical break-even period for a franchise business? A good question. So it depends on what business you're buying and what kind of investment cycles you have. For example, if you're buying a small unit food QSR franchise, typical break-even cycle should be the cash break-even should happen in 4, 5, 6 months. Your return on investment should be about 2.5 years. If you're buying a conventional retail franchise, which means a fashion franchise or any other franchise, your break-even, the cash flow break-even should really happen in sometimes 6-7 months again, and your return on investment should come about 3 odd years, and then because you have normal contracts is 5 plus 5 years, so it's a long-term contract, and that's something which you insist. Don't do short-term franchise contract. People do mistakes. They sign for 3 years and then renewal for another 3 years, and 3 years you not even receive your money back. So don't do any kind of contract which are too short-term because it will not work. But now if you're investing a larger investment, say you're starting a school, a K-12 school, it would be your 5th or 6th year where you will get on to your break-even, and then the return on capital can be even. So most of the very big K-12 schools investments, 8, 9, 10 years it takes to really get your return. So, but the life of opportunity is much bigger, because the school when you start, it's going to be there with you for the next 50 years or 100 years or even more. So even if you are trying to cycle to get your returns back, it's a long-term viewpoint of the business is still good. So depending on what business you are buying and what the life of that business would define what kind of a typical break-even return on investment which you need to get. Some businesses are even service-based businesses where you would be able to get your return on capital in just 6 months. But these businesses are return on involvement, meaning that you are working as a job in your own business, and that gives the return on capital much faster. But because you put in your own time, you have to calculate your time. That's very, very important. So there are many ways to really look at how do you really calculate that, and that's why I insist that you should be around a good consultant. And all our consultants spread across India. We call them independent franchise consultants. We have in 94 cities today. So you should set up an appointment with them. Spend maybe a 45-minute or 1 hour no obligation meeting. And once you have done that and you feel that you need further support and guidance from them, then they have a registration cost, which is 30,000 rupees annualized registration. 1 year registration, you don't have to pay any other money. In 30,000, they would then work with you to do all that 4 dots. So selecting the industries, choosing the right brands, working with you to create a business plan, financial plan. They would also work with you to then understand and do a full research on your micro market. And once you have done through that and you've gone through a legal understanding and signed the contract with the company, then you pay additional 50,000. So technically, it's a very low cost investment for you, but taking the right advice, which is going to be the right advice and right business brand for you. Okay, so Sunil wants to work on his own idea. Yes, Sunil, it's always good to really be entrepreneur and working on your own idea, but you have to be careful. If you have some background on that industry or business, then it's great. Otherwise, you need to be very, very careful. Whilst it's always more tempting to start your own entrepreneur idea because it gives you the freedom of your own creativity. But I always tell that if you are getting first time in business, then franchise would be a better idea, because you will get to learn curve. And there are statistics that tell you that about 70% of all startups close in the past 5 years, close in 5 years. Almost 70% of franchises pass. So which means when you're going to something which is proven, you're more likely to be more sustainable and better. So you have to be careful doing that. But if you're convinced of your idea, you feel that your idea is great, and you're research enough, and that you have all the resources to back that idea, then I will always encourage you to go out and start your business. So friends, thank you very much. Thanks for joining in this morning. And we have a number which is already written, or I will request my colleague to write a business hotline number. This business hotline number is 971-76-83838. This is our business hotline number, and and you can reach out. Our teams would also reach out to you. And if you need a help in terms of setting up a meeting with our consultant, we'll be more than happy to do that. So thank you very much, and keep coming to our Franchise India webinars. Every 12 o'clock, every day, we have a new opportunity, new webinar, which is happening. If you're not attended, please register yourself. Very interesting opportunities. We also have a Facebook page, which has thousands of videos now available for you to really review and find out. If you've not visited my website, gauravmarya.com is my website. So again, a lot of videos are there which can help you to get some insights on businesses or some thoughts which can also help you to build your business idea much better. So thank you very much. Enjoy your Sunday, and look forward for having some of you working with us closely on your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much.